While I arriving, the sheriff was cautious of me. I was a guest to his village Mississippi Shire, worst, I was a interviewer of New York town. He summarized up his skepticism the path, each period Mississippi done domestic news story, it seemed love the reporters controlled to discover the one toothless man in the proximity and push him or her in front line of the chamber. The sheriff had a spot. And I had a problem to defeat. The history I was on was not departure to flattery Mississippi. But I did pledge him I would not go inquiring for the toothless. I had go to compose on the mental ill in Mississippi, in special such who injury up in prison, charged of frequently severe crimes but rejected, for months and though year, the main legislative demand how they get a psychological assessment. Such a evaluations, if the defendants were sensible at the period of the estimated criminality and now qualified to stay test for such crimes, would deeply form the otherwise of their lives. Tyler Haire was one of such I requested to compose on. He was 16 while he was detained for piercing his dad's friend. She kept, but Tyler, in a psychological public health instance folder heavy in diagnoses, went to prison. He waited almost 4 persons year for the assessment a magistrate orderly be made as quickly as probable. No one the sheriff in Calhoun Shire nor Tyler's household knew I was upcoming. But they let me in their homes, their prison, their lives. Later they let me go behind once again and once again. They and other in Mississippi, families, sheriffs, psychological public health vocational, political community, requested their stories of profound disappointment said. It was, they thick felt, a Mississippi confusion how would be helping by more, though domestic focus. I quickly scientific how it wasn't just the charged who sat wait in prison. The country's psychological public health asset were so deficient how families saw uneasy favorite ones who necessary hospitalization breeze up over stick just for wish of an accessible bed in a treat installation. One sheriff had a war vet in his prison a few year behind. The vet hadn't devoted any criminality. He was in prison wait for a bed at a country clinic or a meltdown center. The vet's authority clinic let him go of. His household had him unwittingly devoted. The man hanging oneself in the prison cage. It was the at first period the prison personnel had always lose who love how. The mental ill include lose lot in the recent 10 years in Mississippi. Clinic beds. Country employees dedicated to thoroughness. Regional meltdown centers. Options of all various as country budgets include shrunk, at first by the domestic finance meltdown, later in a supported episode of Country Scope Backs. The child-in-law of the female Tyler stabbed had lose a sibling to suicidal. She had walked up to his building and saw him suspended down there. He had a story of psychological disease and personality harm. She had tested to get him assist, hard to get him devoted and beggary regional police force commanders to go verify on him. She had a voicemail of him menacing suicidal. He was 33 while he went front and did it. So, present, she mourns him, and helps thoroughness for her mommy-in-law, a lost of a fighting framework of thoroughness and judiciary. It didn't upheaval me, later, while Bridget, the chamber-shy mom of Tyler, said me she too had been hospitalist for her own psychological public health problems. He's too deceased for me and Tyler, she told to me more than rather than one day. I couldn't frankly speak her differently. But perhaps he's not too deceased for other. Mississippi, the Calhoun Shire sheriff knows, is not one in its problems. State through the nation are lack the mental bad, consisting such in their jails and imprisonment. He's a share embarrassment. My history is and try to do superior thoroughness a share commitment.